The cost of a school placement is the most important factor when the local authority decides which school to name. True or false?
It's not the most important factor, in as much as it's certainly not the first factor. When you're deciding which school to name as a local authority, the first thing that you have to do is look at whether the school meets the need, not how much it costs. That's really important. So the local authority can't say to you, we can't let you have this school this year because we're short of money. It's not a question of cutbacks and shortage of money, it's a question of appropriate decision making. And the very first thing they have to look at is, can the school meet the needs? If you have two schools which can meet the needs, the local authority has a duty to go with the cheaper one. Unless there's only a tiny amount. Tiny is all relative, isn't it? If it was, say, a couple of thousand a year difference between two schools, then really they should go with the parental preference one. Certainly if you get as far as the tribunal decision process will be, look at both schools in detail, can both schools meet the needs? If one can't, then they'll name the other. Whichever way round that is, whether it's the parental preference or the local authority preference, they will name the one that can meet the needs. If, as quite often happens, they decide that both schools can meet the needs, then they have to look at cost. So it's then that the cost factor kicks in. But cost can include a whole host of things, not just the cost of the placement in the school. So that you'll be looking at the cost, for example, of therapies in addition to the general placement costs. So you've got to look at the cost of the placement itself, cost of speech and language therapy, cost of transport if that's going to be needed, cost of teacher of the deaf service, all these things need to be factored in. However, if you get as far as the tribunal, what the local authority will usually say is that the cost of our own school is nothing because we've already paid for it. And therefore, you're facing an uphill struggle to win an argument on costs between two schools. But it can be done, it certainly can be done, because you just need to make sure that you've got everything, all the costs. And anybody that you go to for help with the tribunal will be able to look at that with you. So it's not just down to cost. It comes to it in the end if all things are equal. But the first factor in decision making should be appropriateness of the placement.